going to be talking about, that's upside down, Wolverine Weapon X. Um, yeah, it's very difficult to review a book like this because so many people love it, and I'm not one of those people. Um, I'm not going to say that I hate the book outright. It's just not for me. Um, Written and drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, and for me, that is um, immediate red alert signs. Immediately, I'm kind of put off when there's one writer and artist, when the writer and artist is the same person. Um, Mainly because I feel like if someone's on writing and art duty, apparently it's supposed to be this amazing, massively, you know, rare occasion that a writer and artist has, that a writer will be doing art as well, and they'll be given full reins on like the whole book, and it's completely their story. But I feel like one or two things, one of the two things um will get sacrificed. I feel like in this book it's definitely the artwork that gets sacrificed because it's not a pretty book, and I say that having read it and knowing that it's not meant to be the prettiest of books, but it's not pleasant on the eyes. That being said, the imagery that's used, not necessarily the way it's drawn, but what is drawn, is interesting. I very much like the tone that Barry Windsor Smith is going for. Another thing that, is praised about the book that I've got a slight niggle with, a lot of the actual text, the panels, the actual speech balloons, they overlap. And this is a personal niggle of mine. Being dyslexic, I struggle to read the words anyway. Having stuff going over the words, that makes it even more difficult. So, that's just a personal niggle of mine. Didn't destroy the entire experience. The book is still, good. It's slow. The first half, I felt almost bored by it, but the second half, once it gets into the more crazy imagery, the more once Logan wakes up and realizes that he's been, almost. Once he finds out and notices that he's like, once Logan snaps and goes crazy and starts going on a murdering spree, that's when the book gets good. Before that, it's slightly boring and slightly, a bit of a chore to read. I did read this book in one sitting though, because it is the book's quite short anyway, and B, that slow burn. Although this is collecting Marvel Comics Presents issues 72 to 83 to 84, the actual, it's only collecting 15, or not even that, like 10 to 13 pages from each issue, and that kind of makes it easier to digest, but still there is half of the book where it's just people standing around looking at Logan, and then the other half of the book is Logan going on a complete killing spree, and it's like a horror movie, and it's beautiful. It's so damn good, because Wolverine in this book is written or drawn as like the most grotesque, monstrous version of Logan you can think of. His hair is like shaggy and down to his stomach almost, and he's just the most animalistic looking version of Wolverine that I think I've ever seen in a comic book. It really pulls off the tone quite well. And when you do see Wolverine in action, which, albeit not, they're very few and far between. It's very fun, and it's fun to see Wolverine be a complete berserker. But like I said, that's only really like the second half of the book, and those moments are very few and far between. Most of it is following these three scientists, and they're all kind of unlikable douchebags. They try their best to make two of them likable, but they fail miserably because they are suckered into this plan, which is basically destroying this guy's life and making him into a killing machine. They try to justify it, but they don't. And at the end of the day, they still try and protect the guy who's like a corporate douchebag. The guy literally gets given a gun and doesn't use the gun at all. Our POV character is also just the most boring human being alive. He's basically just like, oh yeah, I don't really like violence, but all of this is kind of crazy, you know. And he gets given a gun. He's like, what am I meant to do with this? Oh yeah, I'll use it. I'll fight him. Yeah. He's just like the most boring, generic guy, and unfortunately, he gets most of the time spent on him, and he doesn't develop or change or grow as a character. He goes from kind of being a nervous scientist to being a nervous scientist with a gun to being dead. But I think almost the most interesting character is the professor, the main head honcho guy, because he's written almost as someone who doesn't know what he's doing. He's just trying to make himself look good by destroying this person's life because he's a mutant. But in actuality, it's not actually him behind the scenes. I kind of like that. I kind of like that this guy's just trying to be liked by being an absolute dick, and he's actually serving to a higher purpose, which isn't actually revealed. But a lot of people seem to think, oh yeah, it's Apocalypse. It's Apocalypse. How could it not be Apocalypse? It's 100% Apocalypse. And when he does say, I'm not one of them, you can't kill me, I'm one of the strongest, then you're like, yeah, he's been talking to Apocalypse throughout the whole of this. You know. And that's the thing with Wolverine, Weapon X. I want so much to like this book, because it is so interesting, and it's got so much stuff in it that could work really well. And there's something. The thing in this book that works really well is Wolverine, and unfortunately, Wolverine isn't the focus of the book. The focus is this douchebag guy and his douchebag friends, who are all douchebags. And you don't like any of them, you don't want to follow them, but the book forces you to follow them, because what, you're going to follow a sleeping guy for most of the book? That would actually be kind of interesting to get his to get like Wolverine's internal monologue throughout like this entire thing. But no, some you get some generic scientist who's not really that interesting and you don't really care about. And when he dies, you're kind of like, yay, he was a character, I guess. The artwork is kind of a put off for me. It fits the tone of the book, but the tone of the book is not a tone that I usually go for. Therefore, the art is not an art style that I usually go for. I'm sorry that it feels like I don't like this book, because I do. I I I do like this book, but it does have flaws and it does have issues and it does have things that annoyed me about it when reading it, and that is the lack of Wolverine in Wolverine's own book. Sure, he's in a lot of it, but in a lot of it he's sleeping. A lot of it he's unconscious. A lot of it he gets no lines of dialogue until like the last few pages. He gets like the last issue, which is like the last 13 pages of the book, is like started with Wolverine's internal monologue, but it's just there's not the most interesting part of the book. The coolest part of the book is where the least amount of time went into developing that part of the book, and that's annoying, and it's sad, because there's a really good story in here. There's a really good horror book in Wolverine's like origin story. You could tell Wolverine's origin story as a full-on horror, and it would work really well. But this book just falls short of that. It's going to be interesting reading the comments to this video, because I know a lot of people hold Wolverine Weapon X up in regard to being one of the best Wolverine stories ever written. I don't, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy reading the comments on this video. Just saying. If you did like this video, give it a like. If you like me for some reason, then give this video a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Instagram, my Twitter, Patreon, all that lovely good stuff in the description below, or in my channel description. It's a bit more of a rigmarole, but you'll get there. You'll find it. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.